My wife and I love that umbrella guy. We love that umbrella guy.
Hey there, so if you love that umbrella guy too, make sure that you sub, make sure you hit that bell for daily notifications, and if you want to go further, well, there are links in the description. More on that at the end of the video. So today I want to once again return to that wonderful stage, the one where voice actors dwell, and to talk about something that's not related to their craft, but rather them going out and applying double standards on the social media stage and thinking, well, this is somehow normal. This is somehow okay. And not only that, but you can't comment on it. Yeah, there have been complaint after complaint about us violating their privacy because, you know, Twitter, that's not a big stage. So let me remind them of something before we even get started on that. This is a part of the terms of service for utilizing Twitter. You'll notice here, it starts out, I'm going to read just a little bit of this here. By submitting, posting, or displaying content, or through the services, you grant us a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free license to use, copy, reproduce, da-da-da-da-da. Then we pick up right here and really pay attention to this one. This license authorizes us to make your content available to the rest of the world and to let others do the same. That means that when you go out and you decide to throw something out into social media, to throw it out into the court of public opinion, well, people can talk about that. And well, people were talking about your craft at one time. They were also, they weren't talking about family matters and all that until you started burning down a certain guy out there, until you started taking pot shots and deciding to burn down someone because listen and believe. Now, I've discussed that in another video, but I think that this is worth following up on because of what is mentioned in this. For those who weren't or were there for the ride with my brother's situation, there are posts missing because I deleted them. I didn't want them clogging up my walls. We were able to successfully get him a lawyer. We are now waiting for his court date to be set. Thank you. And then we get this statement. And I think this statement, it says quite a bit. And you notice I pulled it from about when it started, when it was put up there, because I thought, wow, what hypocrisy. For those of you bringing up Vic, talking about Vic Mignogna, my brother has never touched nor harmed anyone. These are two very different cases, and it is quite irrelevant. I would appreciate it if you would be more respectful and compassionate, as this is already a hard time for me and my family. Thank you. So, when going out and brigading against someone, when setting their life ablaze, it's okay for you to go out and to say right here, you're doing that actually. Vic Mignogna, he touched people. He harmed people. My brother, he didn't harm people at all. Not only that, but you need to be respectful because, I'm throwing all of these statements out here in the court of public opinion. I've been talking about that and asking for money for it. And also, well, I gave interviews. I think the interview here in this, I think that this is actually very telling too because of certain statements in it. And I'm going to go back and really catch people up on what was said for the case. And again, I am not trying to display any kind of guilt for this person, any kind of innocence. I don't know about it. What I do know is due process, and you are innocent until proven guilty. So this guy, what's the difference between the Vic Mignogna situation and this one? Well, this guy has actually been arrested, but hey, I digress. When you go and you look at this article based on this, however, it's interesting to see the way that it's framed because this person talks about their brother and him being arrested because, well, he apparently had some stuff on his hard drive that was not the best thing in the world to have. In fact, when you think about the worst things people can do, the worst things in society, this is one of them. And I would say, too, if you want to go out and you want to judge the difference between things, well, when you're saying that your brother never harmed anyone, again, innocent until proven guilty. However, if the implication there is because imagery on the computer isn't harmful, oh, it indeed is. It indeed is, because it was taken by somebody that abused for the sake of providing said imagery. Again, if your brother didn't pick that up, that's fine. But 280 character social brigading, it does have quite the backlash. Now, this story, again, my brother basically was putting together a computer, but the Dragon Maid anime VA believes Brad, her brother, to be innocent since the hard drive had initially belonged to someone else in a computer build, and on there, apparently, supposedly, there was something about a peer-to-peer network, a super sketchy website that was worse than LimeWire, and apparently somehow images were already on there, even though you would of course have to connect the peer-to-peer software to your IP. You would actually have to go out and connect it to something to have that go out there. Your ISP has to pick that up, but still, it has to be tracked. But again, there could be something weird there. I don't know. Again, I am not a judge, and I'm not the jury on it. Again, I believe in due process. Brother, she goes on, was never the brightest bulb in the box, so if there's anything he'd be guilty of, it would unfortunately be for torrenting, pirating movies, music, and what have you. I believe in my brother's innocence, and do not think the police have collected enough evidence personally, because this program is all they based his report on, talking about the program, the peer-to-peer there. No other sites, no Google, no way. And that would be because it was probably downloading or it was sharing, one or the other. I would imagine, but again, that is a bunch of inference. He is the kind of person, he would have a whole lot more stashed away. So, basically, the defense there is he built a computer. It was supposed to have more imagery. And, well, he's the kind of person that if he were really into that, they would have found a lot more. Okay, got you there. Then they talk about the defunct GoFundMe they had. They said, true fact, in America, you need a good lawyer, even if you're innocent. Under the law, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Public defenders have too many caseloads to spend any amount of time on an individual case, so they will look at a case 10 minutes before entering court, or even have the defendant agree to a lousy plea deal that's not really in the person's best interest in order to move on to the next case. So you can see them reflect the idea of innocent until proven guilty. They reflect all of these notions that you hear about. And yet again, they decide that doubling down on this idea that Vic Mignogna is guilty and their brother isn't, they decide yet again, after videos have come up, after people have talked about that's a standard there. And also, when you bring this stuff up, period, you're not being respectful and compassionate to this person. Because watching people go out and in real time burn a person's life down, and you bringing up how this is a sickening standard, that makes you the monster in this equation, not them the monster in this equation. No, you are the monster in this equation. Doesn't that really reek of hypocrisy? Doesn't that say something to you in it? Again, they went out with a specific con. They decided to remove themselves from it because of this kind of stuff here, because they're saying, oh man, that guy out there, that guy Vic, he is a safety concern. But meanwhile, they're telling you that if anything is brought up about the person out there that's, well, in their life, in their periphery. And again, I understand defending family, and again, I understand due process, but I find the hypocrisy in this. It's overwhelming to me. I cannot look at this kind of stuff and see a statement like that where you're telling people to be respectful and compassionate, and yet at the same time, you're destroying somebody. You're saying, hey, you better listen and believe me in both setups there. If you don't listen and believe me, well, you're being disrespectful. You're not being compassionate either way. It's the same thing we hear all the time. So, another thing within that too, never touched or harmed anyone. Well, I'm not listening and believing victims. I'm not going out of that way. No, because there were none. Got to remove that from the equation too. Man, I could go on about that again, but I'm trying to be very level in this. I'm trying to go out and I'm trying to be very calm about that approach too, because these folks, they need to get it through their heads that when they're going and they're doing things like this, it showcases many things, and it showcases it to an audience that was pretty much a captive audience, an audience that enjoyed what they did simply because they went out and they applied voices to something. They went out and they did work behind the scenes. They got to reap the whirlwind for that. And well, this other thing, that's them reaping a whirlwind too, only it's probably a lot less fun. I don't know. You tell me what you think about all this stuff. If you like this kind of content too, make sure that you sub, make sure you hit that bell for daily notifications. And if you want to go further, there are links in the description. You can check those out. They definitely do help out channels, not just this one. So check that kind of stuff out. Also leave comments, pro or con. I don't care. I just want to know what you think about this stuff. Really, when looking at it too, you would think these people, they would finally come to the conclusion that maybe, just maybe doing this stuff is bad, but no, they never, ever do. Also, I want to end saying something that they forget. When you show up, I appreciate that. I appreciate it because you make endeavors possible. They forget that. That's why I end every video saying this. I appreciate you. I know exactly who makes something possible. So, thank you. We'll do this stuff again soon. Thanks.